Hi, and welcome to Best in Tesla News, episode 134. Tesla is quietly building yet another virtual power plant. And Tesla has filed to build a new battery manufacturing equipment line at Fremont. And we got a little sneak peek of the future where cars can actually help out the grid. And Lucid filed a new offering to raise $8 billion in the future. And the demand for EVs is just off the chart. And in China, the EV market share is getting close to 1/3 of the market. And in the US, Tesla's competition can't even compete combined. And the EV adoption is happening so fast that even Toyota is now saying, okay, there is a demand for EVs. You don't say. All this and much more on today's episode. Let's dive right in.
Let's put our living stereo stylus in this groove.
Tesla is quietly building out yet another virtual power plant, and this one is in Japan. For the last 2 weeks, I have been reporting on virtual power plant being tested, one in California and one in Vermont. But it appears that Tesla's energy business is hitting its stride. In a recent blog post, Tesla Japan shared some insight about its virtual power plant in Miyako-jima, or something like that, located on the islands of Okinawa. This project is based on their solar panels plus battery storage installation service that allows you to install solar power generation system and storage battery with an initial installation cost of 0 yen provided by the Miyako-jima Future Energy Company. So that is pretty cool. But apparently Tesla started building it back in 2021. The virtual power plant has exceeded 300 homes. As noted by Tesla, the system is the first commercial use of Powerwall home batteries for virtual power plant in Japan. It would also be one of the country's largest commercial virtual power plant using household storage batteries when it's fully complete. It is expected to install 400 units by the end of 2022 and 600 Powerwalls on the island by 2023. In addition, after 2024, they are aiming to install a designated Powerwall throughout all of Okinawa. That is just awesome. And that also means that Tesla's Powerwall business will continue to have business in Okinawa for many years to come. And as more people realize what a great idea this is, more will want to join the energy revolution. Just look at this tweet from Marcus. Making $75 during tonight's virtual power plant, sitting on my couch doing nothing while my Powerwall sell back my solar from the day to the grid. AC at 72 and no electricity bill. Oh yes, Tesla's energy business is really a sleeping giant. As Elon Musk has said so many times, Tesla's energy could very well become larger than their company's automotive business. And when we think about just how big ambitions Elon and Tesla have of selling 20 million EVs in 2030, that could all on its own be more than a $1 trillion business, but the energy business at that point might be just as big. And let's just take 1 minute break to get a quick word from today's sponsor, Blinkist, because not only do they have a great offer right now, but what their service is offering is much more valuable. I have talked about them before, so I assume you know what Blinkist is. If not, they take a whole book and take all the key takeaways and put them into these 10 to 15 minutes blinks. And today I would really like to share a whole book list with you, because it's a list of 10 books that are on Elon Musk's reading list. And you probably know Elon reads a lot of books, but maybe as myself, you find it hard to find the time to sit down and read a lot of books. And that is why I personally use Blinkist and have done way before they became a sponsor of this channel. But I will also leave you guys a link down below to this book list from Elon Musk reading list that I can highly recommend. And I just went through all the 9 books on my latest drive down to my parents because they are all available as blinks. That is an average of 13 minutes long, so I could easily go through all 9 books on my little drive of 1.5 hours each way. I just love that while driving or doing any activity like running or just taking a coffee break, I can get all the key takeaways from a whole book in just 10 to 15 minutes. So on the last drive down to my parents, I got the takeaway from 9 books that Elon Musk recommends people to read. But Blinkist, of course, has much more than that. They have already over 5,000 titles. So I will bet that they have something you will find interesting as well, if Elon's book list is not good enough. But this is really some powerful stuff and can really help you get a lot of knowledge without any real big efforts. Who doesn't want that? That is why I'm so happy Blinkist has decided to become a sponsor of this channel, and you can now get access to all of this knowledge with a 7-day free trial. So don't miss out and try this out for yourself. And if you like it, you will get 25% off their premium membership by using my link down below. So go nuts, my friend, and enjoy the power of big knowledge in a small package. And a big thanks to Blinkist for sponsoring this video. The EV adoption is happening so fast that even Toyota are now saying, okay, there is a demand for EVs. Toyota has been saying they don't see the demand for EVs, and they have been lobbying against EVs to make sure it won't happen too fast. And that is why they are planning on making many different powertrains. But now Toyota is changing the tune a bit, as they just have announced to invest an extra $2.5 billion in the US facility that will manufacture batteries for both their hybrid electric and fully battery electric vehicles. The additional investment in the US is part of a wider investment of up to $5.6 billion in battery production, with Toyota noting the demand for battery electric vehicle was growing. What? I am shocked. Who could have known? But don't worry, Toyota is not going all in on EVs as everyone else is. They will continue to offer multiple powertrains and provide as many options as possible. So Toyota is really trying to complicate things as much as possible for themselves. Great strategy there. Yes, Toyota is just stumbling in the dark. I know many things Toyota could just easily make millions of EVs if they wanted to, but on the contrary, we are seeing clear evidence to this is just not true. Toyota do not have the expertise just yet. And I'm not talking about the BZ4X that has been recalled because of the wheel falling off. I'm talking about their new EV. Toyota is expected to soon introduce the new all-electric model in China called BZ3. But Toyota will hardly be involved in producing this car, as the model will be produced by FAW Toyota, the joint venture between Toyota and FAW, who will be producing the car, and the car will be equipped with BYD's LFP blade batteries as well as BYD's electric motors. So basically it is just a BYD electric car underneath. If it was so easy and Toyota had the technology, why would they pay BYD to help them out making this car? So that will hardly be a Toyota electric car, but just a Chinese BYD disguised as a Toyota. So Toyota is really not anywhere near to be able to make a big launch into the growing EV market. But at least Toyota is starting to see there is a demand for EVs. And the demand for EVs in China are shooting up like crazy, as so far this year the EVs represent about 30% of the overall car market for new car sales. 30%. That is just crazy. So if Toyota does not sell EVs in China, they will lose about 30% of their sales in China this year. And that, of course, goes for everyone else. And no one of the old legacy automakers are producing 30% EVs for their Chinese market, so they are already behind. Even someone like Volkswagen is still less than 10% EV, so we could see them lose maybe about 20% of their market in China. That represent about 40% of all of Volkswagen sales. Yes, we are witnessing the collapse of the ICE industry right now, especially in the biggest market in the world. It is not something that will happen 8 years from now. It is happening as we speak. Tell me, who of the legacy automakers that sells cars in China that already have more than 30% EV shares of their production? I don't know that anyone is doing that, but maybe I'm missing someone. Please let me know in the comments if you know of someone that is doing that other than BYD and some of the Chinese. One that is not making any ICE cars is of course Tesla, and they have just seen their wait time for the Model Y in China being cut in half. According to Gordon Johnson, that is because their demand is crashing. But us who actually follow what is going on, we know it is because that Tesla has actually ramped up their production after they finished their upgrade of the Shanghai factory. So I think Gordon will be very surprised by just how many Model Ys Tesla will sell in China for the rest of 2022, because Tesla might have made yet another production record in China in August, according to the Chinese Passenger Car Association. That said that Tesla sold about 77,000 made-in-China vehicles in August, which is up 173% month-over-month, since Tesla only delivered about 28,000 vehicles in July due to the factory shutdown for the production upgrade, but is also up 74% year-over-year versus July 2021. So if we see no more shutdowns, a power shortage and all that stuff, or any other force majeure, we should see the China factory being able to push out something like 350 to 375,000 vehicles for the rest of the year, just from the Shanghai factory. As I expect their production to be similar to the deliveries, even though they had some inventory from last month, but that will also mean that August production could be yet another record. So yes, the demand is off the charts, and all the so-called experts are constantly having to revise their production about EV adoption. Even the US companies. Boston Consulting Group, BCG, is a global consulting firm with a robust automotive practice. Almost every year since 2018, BCG has released a thoroughly designed market projection for EV adoption. In the few years since their first projections was released in 2018, the numbers have constantly been revised to increase the rate of adoption. As we can see, they had gone from a prediction of 21% in 2030 to 53% in 2030. But my bet is they will revise that yet again next year, and the year after that, and the year after that. Impressive how these consulting firms just don't get the S-curve we are in right now. Also, their prediction is also without the EV tax credit incentive in the US, but maybe a more important catalyst in the US near term could be California's plan to ban the sales of gas vehicles by 2035. California has most cars of any state, about 10% of them, so this would be a huge driver of nationwide adoption. Plus, as goes California, so goes the 40 other states that follow the emission guidance of the Californian Air Reduction Board. The potential is for 1/3 of the national's vehicle to be emission-free by 2035 on this fact alone. But BCG only thinks that 5 years earlier there will be 53% EV market share, so they will probably have to revise their predictions again and again as demand continues to rise together with the production of EVs. And Tesla is seeing an unprecedented demand, according to Per Farragut of New Street Research, who participated in a tour of the Berlin factory this week. As he said, Tesla is facing unprecedented demand. Everybody I know at Tesla and with whom I could discuss this topic agreed that demand is way above what hopes were just a few years ago. Electric cars are so popular that Tesla and their competitors' market share will mostly be dictated by their ability to ramp volumes. Exactly. Tesla's demand is off the chart, and the only question is how fast can they ramp up? Well, time will tell, but my guess is it's fast. And Tesla's dominance in the US EV market continues as the competition can't even compete combined. Not even if Tesla is only allowed to bring one model. Tesla has long accounted for about 60 to 80% of the US electric market. With the EV sales data Clean Technica have, Tesla's 4 models account for 67.7% of the sales in the second quarter of 2022 and 71.6% of the sales in the first half of 2022. Talk about domination. And just look at the Model 3 and the Y. You can actually take all of the other models on this list that are not Teslas and combine all their sales numbers, and it will not even be enough to beat Tesla's Model Y or even the Model 3. Total sales of the rest of the list that is not Tesla's amount up to 90,972 units for the first half of 2022. And the Tesla Model 3 sold 93,000 units 800 and the Model Y 102,834 units. So not all of the competition combined. They cannot even beat the Tesla Model Y, one model from Tesla. But don't worry, they will all come out with more models. Awesome. But we do have some other nice numbers on this list as well. The Ford Mustang Mach-E broke the 10,000 marker last quarter, so that is great. So, of course, after Ford has been ramping up production for 2 years, it seems a little low to only be able to produce 10,000 a quarter for the US market. But at least they are starting to get some decent numbers out on the street, so that is cool. It is also very nice to see the F-150 Lightning on the list as well, with a couple of thousand sold in the first half of 2022. So that is good. Keep the ramp going, Ford. And we see GM is really putting the pedal to the metal with the production of the Hummer EV with 371 just 371 units sold in the first half of this year. Wow, if they keep that production up, and with about 65,000 reservations for the Hummer, they will be done in about 87 years. Hope they have a plan to ramp up just a little bit faster. But jokes aside, let's just give a little pat on the back to Rivian. They might still have a lot of trouble ramping up, but they have actually sold more units of their R1T in the first half of 2022 than the Audi e-tron or the much cheaper Volkswagen ID.4. Well done, Rivian. Well done. And Rivian has actually made the absolute greatest move of them all. They have partnered with Sandy Munro to find out how they can build the car faster. Because I don't think we will find anyone that will not agree with the fact that the Rivian R1T is a great electric pickup truck. It has so many cool features and it is a beast in acceleration and handling, but as Sandy Munro has said at Tesla Takeover, it is a very difficult car to produce. And that is why Sandy and his team is going to work together with Rivian. That is so cool to see them reaching out to Sandy and getting the help that is needed so they can get to profitability before it's too late. So great to see this move from Rivian, and nice to see them actually on the top 10 list of the EVs sold in the US. And we have a lot of great news about SpaceX this week. A US appeal court has rejected lawsuit from Dishwork and Viasat that tried to reverse an FCC decisions permitting SpaceX to operate their Starlink satellite in low Earth orbit, because it will, of course, destroy their business. So if you can't beat them, try to get them locked down. But that didn't work. What are you going to do now, as SpaceX has the best product for the cheapest price? Well, the customers have already spoken on what they want, as someone like Royal Caribbean will be the first in the cruise industry to adopt Starlink. The announcement came almost 2 months after SpaceX announced Starlink Maritime, which provide ocean-going vessels with up to 350 megabits per second download while at sea. The cost of the Starlink Maritime include a one-time hardware cost of $10,000 and a monthly payment of $5,000. A bargain compared to what else is out there, as we talked about before, and this will just be the first of many to come. Starlink is going to be the norm for any ocean-going vessels in the future. Starlink is going to be a very good business for SpaceX, and the pace of just how fast SpaceX is getting Starlink to orbit is quickly increasing, as Elon wrote on Twitter after yet another successful launch that now launching every 5 days. Just mind-boggling. But SpaceX is doing more than just internet. NASA has selected Dragon for 5 additional commercial crew missions to and from the space station, which brings the total number of astronaut Dragon flight for NASA up to 14. Very impressive, and this will just continue as SpaceX really don't have any competition when it comes to the price of getting astronaut to the International Space Station. And let's squeeze in the last short news topics into this news show. Yes, it's time for the Tesla Shorts. And if you're wondering why it is that Tesla's chargers has an uptime of 99.96% and most other charging companies like Electrify America are only working 75% of the time, well, here's a great picture of the difference between Tesla's and Electrify America's chargers from the inside. No part is the best part, right? So much can really go wrong on the left here, but we also see why Electrify America has to make these huge supercharging stalls compared to Tesla's. Easy to see that one of these two companies has over a decade of experience in making charging stalls and has tried for a decade to simplify them. Even on the charging stalls themselves, Tesla is years ahead of the competition. Vita Prime shared that the 7th Australian Tesla ship for this quarter has arrived at Port Kembla. Many thousands of Teslas has arrived in Australia this quarter. Record has been smashed. Very nice. But it's not only in Australia that gets a lot of Teslas. Japan has also just received a large batch of Tesla Model 3 and Y that arrived in the country on Monday. Back in June, Tesla announced the Model Y's orders in Japan, along with Singapore, Australia, New Zealand, as I have reported on here in the news show before, and deliveries of the electric SUV has already begun in those countries, but now it is Japan's turn to get the Model Y as well. And we have some more fear being spread about EVs by insurance companies, as insurance company wanted to prove that Tesla's battery catch on fire and performed a test without the batteries. Yes, you heard right. EXA Insurance put on a show marketing as a crash test and admitted to 24auto.de that there were no batteries in the tested videos. So what EXA was doing was showing that anything will catch on fire if you set it on fire. I mean, what even is this? And they call it a test. You can't make this shit up, but it seems EXA's got a lot of pushback on this little stunt, so they did actually issue an apology and said, "We regret that 2022 edition of Crash Test may have converted the bad impressions of electromobility or created misunderstanding about it." But I guess they got what they wanted out of it anyway, because they have got a lot of publicity for this little stunt. Tesla has filed to build a new battery manufacture equipment line for the Fremont factory. Tesla gave the following description of the project: new battery manufacturing equipment line on the 2nd floor of main assembly building. This permit application relates to the model portion of the line. So whatever it is Tesla is cooking up there, whether it being battery cell production or something for equipment for battery manufacturing, I'm not sure. It seems that Tesla is making use of more of the cubic meters of space within that old factory. Going to be exciting to see what this is. And speaking of Fremont getting most out of the space, check out this video with thousands of gigacastings surrounding the Fremont factory. Just insane. And we have seen Tesla do a lot of testing in the cold, and I even did my own little extreme winter testing this year in Norway, as some of you might know. If you haven't seen that little documentary, you definitely should. But Tesla was out this summer to do some extreme heat and durability testing in Dubai, where temperature reached over 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Now that's heat testing. And Elon wrote on Twitter, spent the day walking the entire Gigaballoon production line. The team is doing excellent work. And we got a little sneak peek into the future where the cars can actually help out the grid. As Monroe Live tweeted, power is out at Monroe, but the show must go on. Ford Lightning F-150 saving the day. So cool, and in 10 to 15 years, this will be a very normal thing. And Hallmark's catalog showed just how awesome Tesla's full self-driving beta software is at detecting and predicting the unexpected things we humans do. Yeah, Tesla's life-saving software. And Rivian rolls out Camp Mode. Wonder where they got that name in the last software update. And one feature introduced in the Rivian's camp mode is camp leveling. It utilized the air suspension in the R1 tires and Rivian's algorithm and sensors to adjust the level of the vehicle. Camp leveling would be handy when setting up CAN on an uneven slope terrain. Now that is pretty cool. Lucid filed a new offering to raise $8 billion in the future. We don't know when this will be, but they do need the cash as they continue to realize the cost involved in manufacturing. Of course, not so good for Lucid's investors, as this will of course be a big dilution of the stocks coming their way. But I think Dylan Loomis from Electrified gave some of the best contents on how much Lucid is using compared to Tesla. We are of course not comparing apples to apples here, but very close, and Tesla raised $5.2 billion in the first 6 years after IPO'd, but at that point Tesla had cumulative sold about 250,000 cars. Lucid has already raised about $6 billion before this potential $8 billion raise and have delivered about 1,000 cars. This is a really good example of just how good and capital efficient Tesla has been. And we see some of Tesla's beautiful solar roof being put up in Utah. It's hard to even believe these solar roofs are not just normal roofs. It looks so good. This is just another part of Tesla's business that are just getting started and will get some really big momentum over the next couple of years. And Ford and Rivian pushed for faster critical mineral mining permits. Yes, that is what I have been saying for a while. This is what the governments around the world should do to help the EV revolution. No longer incentive for EVs, but make sure we'll be able to open up mines faster to keep up with the growing EV demand. So hopefully when the big boys like Ford is pushing, maybe the governments will listen. And Elon Musk did another great interview this week. I will leave a link to that one down below, but he did actually for the first time come with some prediction of the growth of the EV market. He said he thinks at the rate we're seeing now, 50% of the market will be EVs by 2030. So that is the lowest estimate, because we are of course seeing a lot of things being done to improve the pace that we can produce electric vehicles. We have incentive, bans and so much more. So I probably think Elon is very conservative with his 50% market share. But again, this is also, as he said, where we are heading now. If nothing else happens, we will still hit 50% in 2030. And he also discussed what are the limiting factors for the growth of EVs, and that is pretty much only at what rate we can get the ore of the mine being turned into usable materials for batteries. This is of course something we will hear much more about in the Master Plan 3 that should come out in a couple of months, as Elon's also said in this interview. But go check it out, it is only 24 minutes long and well worth it. And before we end off with a bit of fun, I just want to make a quick shout out to my new patrons and members of this YouTube channel. My new Patreons, John Greer and John Grieger. And I thank you for watching, members: Ravis Vipulish, Randall Rachel, Warner Hauser. And my two Be Nice and You Are members, Phil and Steve Smith. Thank you so much for all your support. I am doing this all by myself, but you guys are all the producers of this show. Thank you. And a big and special thanks to Supporter of the Week, and this week's winner is Dan and Katrina Wilcox. They have been ludicrous supporters of mine for almost 2 years now. That is just ludicrous, so thank you so much for all your support. Really appreciate it. I will contact you on Patreon to get your address so I can send you your free t-shirt or mug of your choice. Thank you. And let's end off with a bit of fun. If the mainstream media's news reporter is spreading fear, uncertainty and doubt, stop them. That is all we have time for in this new show. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button. It really does help out this video a lot. And if you did like it, maybe you want to consider hitting that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos just like this one. And don't forget to check out Blinkist with the link in the description down below. If you are already a subscriber, thank you so much for your support, and if you want to support the channel even more, remember you can, for as little as $1, become a patron of this channel and get your shout out on this show. You can also become a member of the YouTube channel to get a shout out and some extra perks. Hit the members button to find out more. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter. I tweet all the news as it comes out and more. And check out the merch store to get some merchandise and support the show. Now it's also possible to support the show without buying anything, becoming a member or a patron. There is a link to a donation options in the show notes. And also as simple as hitting the super like button. But going forward, I will be making more videos for patrons and members only. And I will give my YouTube members and patrons early access to my videos whenever possible and make my videos ads free for members and patrons only. So don't miss out. And thank you for watching. And until next time, take care out there and be nice.